It is very embarrassing for the kind of entitlement that Oburu Odinga is having. Today, Oburu descended on Orengo with blows in Siaya because of Orengo's stand on the current political debate going on. In that event, Orengo came out boldly to hold his stand that Raila Odinga is wrong, and until everything is laid on table, there is a trust deficit on what exactly Raila Odinga discussed with William Ruto. And he confronted Raila Odinga on that. But I want us to get to understand more about it. To first put it to a context, I want you to listen to the kind of explanation that President Ruto is giving the country when he's telling the country the reason for the said broad-based government.
Tumekubaliana, lakini hii serikali siwezi kuendesha peke yangu. Jana nimeteua baraza la mawaziri mpya, na nimesema watu wa Mombasa, jameni, nimekuja kuwaomba munipatie Ali Hassan Joho awe waziri katika serikali ya Kenya. Mombasa, mimi nawauliza, mumekubali Hassan Joho awe waziri wangu wa mambo ya madini na mambo ya uvuvi na mambo ya blue economy na mambo ya maritime affairs? Wangapi wanakubaliana na mimi nimpatie hiyo kazi Ali Hassan Joho? Tushakubaliana. Mumesema tuunganishe Kenya. Munasema tuunganishe ama tutenganishe? Munasema tuunganishe ndio tufanye kazi pamoja, tulipe madeni pamoja, tusomeshe watoto wetu pamoja, tufanye biashara pamoja, tufanye uwekezaji pamoja, tutafute ajira kwa vijana pamoja. Hebu nione wala anasema tutakubaliana tuende safari hiyo pamoja. Hey! Yaani nyinyi watu wa Mombasa mwanga mko mbele hivi. Yaani mnasoma barua ikiwa ndani ya bahasha. Sasa nimueleze namna gani huyu waziri wangu.
He's saying that after 2 years in government, he's realized he cannot do that work alone. We want to take our children to school together. We want to pay our debts together, and we want to work together. You know, Wahome Thuku always asks, which is this kind of unity that politicians speak about? For example, which is this kind of unity that was even lacking in the previous cabinet? Because the cabinet has always been united. In fact, contrary to what is saying, this new cabinet will even be divided because of the political factions. And it's what the president is saying is broad-based government. I would want to ask a question. Do you really believe that picking 4 cabinet members, 2 from Luo Nyanza and 1 from Mombasa and adding the other one from Western, is that broad-based government? Someone will tell you that government is not just constituted at cabinet. We are looking at the principal secretaries, they're yet to be. We are looking at police bosses. We are looking at the military reshuffles. We are looking at head of parastatals. We are looking at ambassadors. And Orengo was trying to compare that what Raila Odinga and the team are selling to the country as a broad-based government is far from the truth, but could just be a gentleman agreement on some give and take between President Ruto and the 5 politicians, Raila and the 4 other ODM nominees. And I want you to listen to what Orengo said. He's saying he's standing his ground, and it is his stand why Oburu Odinga even insulted the governor. that is my county politics, and I can tell you that this time round, it won't be business as usual to some point. I know these are things people want to say. It won't be business as usual. And Raila will have an uphill task to explain and defend and account for the benefits of all this dispensation. But I want you to listen to Orengo. There are points, there are places he's spoken in the Luo, so don't worry. After that, you'll understand there's places he's speaking in English, but of course you'll have an idea what that speech is about. But I'm also going to give you some few translations so that you understand, probably, and that is after, at the end of this video.
And let me say this in English, is put conditions. Conditions. Because right now, the government is still a Kenya Kwanza government. When Ruto was in Mombasa yesterday, he was talking about Joe, my minister, not our minister. We're talking about my minister. When we went to the Grand Coalition, NAC, Kibaki could not sack anybody without Raila's authority. It was written in the law. So tomorrow, if Ruto decides to get no sack it, to document more, which is enforceable, which allows the rules to marriage certificate, who kauraraki holela, kakamu indeed. That would be the greatest stupidity. We got so many lawyers here, including Rodney. Nitie nyakomoro kamu oyere in the Law Society of Kenya, that lady, she is principled. She knows what Kenya desires. Kanya moyo mi teach, ngene wewe nige Ruto, okangere mabera. Kanya no mi teach otamare. We got too many people who are dying. Kor akwaru, giyilo mwango. Paru ne a sublocation. Nito iko na tumoroka. Mogo risas. Sana ukaneno kubiro kani. Mo iko. Nite na tumoro usenge. Nyawan ko de nyoro. Nogo risas mute no cho. Nengi da ko da ko kete no cho. Eli we kom sia ne doro ko kakabet. E sia alone. We buried more than 20 people. Makidi miechigi moko lopregon. Omiyo people bed ijo moko maka gimoro biro ichalo jahawanya with to hawanya dala ngata. To kori dwa beto kuon mondo kata wonda. Mano nyatiro. Kado oko biyeni. Emomio an aye Kenya kako buro wacho kamasia chupe an kadiyanya ayanyo ngege matima kadiyanya ayanyo ngege matima to kawacha die it will stay forever koro miako kanisa kikualemo even in the church people have paid a price. There was a bishop of Canterbury known as Bishop Beckett. Monone Ecclesia. Kakedo le ven. Omeo bishop Ewango. Kuye. Kikuringi in an unholy alliance. Kikuringi. Une munyalo chopo kamoru mwacha niji. You have done too much. Let's pray. Ewa niji leuru mono. Kendo kiti State House. Kiki yun kuon pio kani. Nika ikangado mi kuon. Wachanaji ribero matek. Dwani yal kode wako kagaja Raila. No, I don't know kunyala domo guru to State House. Omeo me, I stand with the Gen Z. I stand with the chama. I stand with the chama wa Orange Democratic Party. Kage, niko kwa luo laini mabaya. Kwa bero kaka kadu wane uoni ji no waberu chama chiel muliro gidonje Shikuku Kenem no Tamre, and Kenya became a one-party state. Ruto is killing political parties. Ose Mwana Jubilee, Ome the ODM go for time for one. So we have to be very careful. Very careful. Odina mono ochuna numo dawati mai ukejwango jo siasa kai to nitie jo siasa moko. I want to advise our politicians here. Nitie dhiang' moro makineno dhiang' mathuon makidonjo kedi kul to en binene to kara oroe en very poor makowane owiligom to go siasa moro owiligom no mendo wawe uru nyakone kama piny dhiye gi kama ber kodwa to kani gimoro bira owiligom owatamore. Asante sana kanisa.
Now, I know you've heard the word of faith at the Ambo. Faith of the Ambo. So Orengo is saying that William Ruto was approached even that LSK president. And because the LSK president was also a Luo, understood the law, she was given the job. But she declined the job because she was even given that job at a time when, the country was, just some few weeks ago, when the country was much on police brutality. And LSK had been strong, condemning and running litigations on behalf of those who had been killed by the police. So that's why she's referring to what she's saying, he. He's referring to Faith and he's saying, when the others, as the others are rushing into this, they're not the first one. Even Faith was approached, but they decided to decline. Some other part that I also wanted to hear is that compare this with the 2007, because people have been drawing those comparisons, that this is not the first time that Raila is into some, grand coalition government. And Orengo is saying that, being that the team that crafted the 2007 post-election government, or rather that grand coalition government, Mwai Kibaki could not sack even any minister without the consent of Raila Odinga. Compare that with what's happening now. William Ruto is running a proxy narrative in public that there is some broad-based government. But to some extent, there is nothing like broad-based. He's still going to hold on bottom-up economic model. He's still going to hold on those policies that they started. And in fact, any cabinet member, be it the new ones, the ones that even are not coming from the ODM, will try to challenge that status quo. They will be branded as saboteurs, people that are just there to sabotage the government. So much as we're talking about broad-based government, we just have individuals that we've brought in government, not necessarily for service delivery as they are saying. It is just for political optics. How quickly, how urgent, how fast is it before even Joho is vetted in parliament to take his cabinet slot? The president has rushed to Mombasa to campaign using that Joho's position. And I can promise you, you'll be heading to Homa Bay and then to Siaya. It is good. We need to celebrate, yes. The Nyanza is celebrating it, yes, because they're getting those cabinet slots. But that, as I said in my first video, does not stop the country from asking the big questions that need to be asked. And that is why, for me, for Buru to try to suppress the voices of Orengo, I think is not in order. I understand, I come from Siaya. Orengo has not been one of the best governors, from Luo Nyanza anyway. Has not been one of the best. But these are governance questions that has to be asked. Whether someone thinks they have the monopoly of the narrative or not. And I think that has to be said, even if it is Odinga family. Ruto can sack anyone, anytime. That's what Orengo is saying. Lastly, and this one only a few people will understand, I will not explain. He's saying, ukiingia kwa zizi la ng'ombe, you will get the ball. And ukiingia hapo, you will always, if ukiingia kwa zizi la ng'ombe upata ball kubwa, then your attention will be on that ball. But later you might realize that that ball is castrated. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't have an explanation for that, but I know you can understand and relate. Why this time Raila's strategy can fail terribly? That's what I want to answer. Why it can fail terribly? Contrary to, Raila's gotten away with it and have been comparing the 2018, the 2022 one. These are the ones I really understand better. The Grand Coalition in 2008, I was in Form 1, maybe. Yes, I was getting to Form 1. I was not so much acquainted with Kenyan politics. So the 2008 one I read in books mostly. But the 2022 and 2018 I felt. In 2022, I've been saying Uhuru Kenyatta was not vying. In 2018 and 2022. Now this 2024 one, William Ruto is simply looking for a ring to cling on. Maybe some string to cling on. And not necessarily someone to help him run government. I disagree with an understanding that Mbadi and the minority leader in Joho was supposed to come to join government. Do you know, if it was about bringing expertise, then Joho would have not have made that list. Would not be in that list. They would have picked technocrats. Mombasa, Raila to give you a technocrat. You still go to the other Nyanza, still get technocrats. Would have still do the work that is still proposed by Raila. But because Joho has a political following in Mombasa, you need to go and get Joho on your side. Why Raila will not get away with this very easily? It will not be easy. This strategy might actually fail. Number one, the political landscape is undergoing a generational transition. And whether you like it or not, it might not be to its optimum level in 2027, but that transition is happening. That transition is happening. In 2032, the faces you might expect in that ballot, in fact, 2032 might be the last viable competitions for Rigathi, for Musalia Mudavadi. Kalonzo Raila will not be in the ballot for 2032. Raila, I'm saying Mudavadi, Kalonzo, talk of who? In fact, Raila, Mudavadi, not Raila, Mudavadi, Kalonzo, Rigathi. That will be the last shot. So what does it mean? Hapa mbele, that transition is happening. And these young people are telling you, we are tribeless, we are formless, we are leaderless. So that transition is going to happen. And that transition is what is going to disorient the political status quo. It's going to change the status quo. And it might not be easy. Some Luo people in urban centers might not be boarding that tribal card. Number two, it is not going to succeed because William Ruto wants it that way. William Ruto wants to scatter the political bases. In fact, by the time William Ruto will understand that I can get 30% from Luo Nyanza without Raila Odinga, William Ruto will not receive Raila's call. That I can tell you. His interest now is to get the second term. And when Gen Zs were threatening it, that's why he had to go for Raila for political will. So the moment he will realize, I have given Badi CS, so Homa Bay can give me some 10%. I have given Mombasa a CS, so Coast can give me some 30%. I've given, with that in mind, I'm telling you, Ruto will not receive Raila's call. And because of that, that is what I'm saying, the scattered, look at Orengo, now Mbadi, the Joho and the Oparanya, different axes is emerging. The ODM team in the coast are coalescing around Joho. The ODM team in Western might coalesce around Oparanya if he accepts the nomination. The same way to South Nyanza, the Homa Bay and the one in Sia. Before he knows, Ruto has gotten his way. Number 3, Ruto is pushing for 2027 endorsement in exchange of this. It's not on silver platter. And before Raila knows, he shall have marketed their relationship and the working relationship with Ruto until the last point he has to endorse. The moment he endorses UDA, that will be the end of the ODM party. And lastly, I feel the public demands accountability on Kenyans killed. The discussion about bloodshed is not fading away, and Raila and the team really have to catch up with that. So ladies and gentlemen, that is my take, but I believe Orengo has a point. Even if you don't agree, there is something you can listen to.